Staying calm under pressure is not a personality trait. It is a trained psychological system, and most people are building it entirely wrong. There's a particular kind of person you have almost certainly met, the one who stays level when everything falls apart. The deadline collapses, the argument escalates, the plan fails spectacularly, and they just handle it. Without theater, without a breakdown, with something that looks from the outside frustratingly like ease. In this video, we're going to take apart exactly what those people do differently, psychologically, not just behaviorally. We will cover 5 specific mechanisms. Each one is evidence-based, each one is learnable. By the time we reach point 4, you will understand why the most common advice about managing pressure, just breathe and stay positive, is not only useless, but actively makes things worse. That is a claim worth staying for. A 2021 study from King's College London found that psychological resilience under acute stress is not primarily about emotional control. It is about cognitive reappraisal, specifically how a person interprets the meaning of the stressor itself. That distinction is the foundation of everything in this video. What you feel matters far less than what you decide the feeling means. Point 1. The reappraisal reflex. It is a Tuesday afternoon. You are sitting in a glass-walled meeting room in a London office. Your manager has just moved your presentation forward by 3 days. Your slide deck is 40% done. Your stomach drops. The person next to you, with the same information, the same workload, the same deadline, looks briefly at their laptop, types something, and continues the meeting. The difference is not temperament, it is reappraisal. Cognitive reappraisal is the ability to reframe a threatening situation as a challenge rather than a catastrophe. It is the mental pivot from "this is going to destroy me" to "this is going to require more of me." Researcher James Gross at Stanford has studied this extensively. His work confirms that reappraisal, actively reconsidering what a stressor means, reduces both emotional distress and physiological stress markers. People who use it habitually report lower anxiety and stronger performance under pressure. It is not positive thinking. It does not require pretending the problem is not serious. It requires changing the frame from threat to task. Think about the last time something went wrong at work. Was your first thought about the problem or about what it meant about you? That question is the exact space where reappraisal lives, and it connects directly to point 2. Point 2. The identity firewall. It is 11 p.m. You are in your flat in Manchester, sitting with a rejection email, a job you genuinely wanted, a long process, a polite no, and it does not just feel like a setback, it feels, somehow, like a verdict. For some people, failure fuses with identity. The project failed, therefore I am a failure. The relationship ended, therefore I am unlovable. This fusion is what psychologists call self-concept threat, and it is one of the primary reasons people crack. People who remain steady under pressure maintain what researchers call psychological distance from outcomes. Their self-worth is not indexed to results. A 2019 paper published in Psychological Science found that individuals with what the researchers termed non-contingent self-esteem, self-worth not tied to performance, demonstrated significantly stronger executive function under stress. They were not less affected emotionally, they were more capable of continuing to think clearly. This is the identity firewall.
When things go wrong, their sense of self does not catch fire with the problem. They can assess the failure without it becoming a referendum on who they are. If that sounds cold, it is not. It is actually far more honest. The project was not them, it was just the project. Point 3. Controlled ambiguity tolerance. Imagine you are waiting in an NHS waiting room, not for something routine, for results. The consultant has not called yet. There is no timeline. Every time your phone lights up, there is a half-second of dread.
Most people in ambiguous, uncertain situations fill the void with catastrophic predictions. The mind, left without information, generates the worst-case scenario as a placeholder. It is an evolutionary habit, and in modern life, it is exhausting and frequently wrong. People who do not crack under pressure have a higher tolerance for ambiguity. They can sit with not knowing. They do not manufacture certainty to reduce discomfort. Research from the University of Edinburgh found that individuals with high ambiguity tolerance show lower activation in the amygdala, the brain's threat detection region, when exposed to uncertain situations. They are not emotionally absent, they are simply less hijacked by information gaps.
This is learnable. The practice is deceptively simple. When you do not know the outcome, notice the urge to predict and consciously choose not to fill the gap. If you're still here, here's the part most people miss. What I'm about to say in point 4 completely reframes the just breathe advice you have almost certainly been given. Point 4, the arousal reinterpretation. You are standing outside a room. Through the door, you can hear people talking. In 3 minutes, you will walk in and speak to 30 of your colleagues about a decision you made. Your heart is going fast. Your hands feel warm.
Standard advice says calm down. Take deep breaths. Try to reduce what you are feeling. And here's the inconvenient truth. That advice is largely counterproductive. A 2014 study from Harvard Business School by researcher Allison Wood Brooks found that people who told themselves, "I'm excited," before a high-pressure performance outperformed those who tried to calm down. The physiological state, elevated heart rate, increased alertness, is essentially identical in fear and excitement. What differs is the label the brain applies to it. People who do not crack under pressure are not less physiologically activated. They interpret their activation differently. They treat the racing heart as readiness, not warning. They have trained their nervous system to read pressure as signal rather than threat. Which is, to put it mildly, quite significant. Calming down is not always the goal. Reinterpreting the state is. Point 5. The slow clock. There's a scene that happens in university libraries around exam season. A student realizes at 9 a.m., 3 hours before the paper, that there is an entire topic they have not revised. 2 students in that position, one goes quiet and methodical, the other spirals. The difference is not intelligence, it is temporal perception under pressure. When the brain enters threat mode, time perception contracts. Everything feels urgent. Every second feels like the last. People in this state make impulsive decisions, skip steps, and act from panic rather than strategy.
Psychologically resilient people demonstrate something researchers call deliberate deceleration, the ability to slow their subjective experience of time when external pressure accelerates. This is not a mystical quality, it is a practiced one. Research published in the British Journal of Psychology on expert decision-making under time pressure found that high performers consistently take more time at the beginning of a crisis than lower performers, not less. They absorb, they assess, they then act more efficiently because they're acting on accurate information rather than reactive assumptions. The instinct under pressure is to move fast. The skill is in knowing when to pause first. At the start of this video, I told you that the most common pressure advice, just breathe, stay positive, is not only useless, but actively harmful in many situations. Here is why that is true. Both of those instructions ask you to suppress or escape what you are experiencing. But as we have covered in points 1 through 5, the psychology of people who genuinely do not crack is not about reduction. It is about reinterpretation. They do not feel less. They do not panic less. They read what they feel differently. They protect their identity from the outcome. They sit with uncertainty rather than filling it with catastrophe. They treat arousal as readiness. They slow their clock when the world speeds up. They are not calmer people. They are better wired people. And the wiring is something you can change. If this changed how you see pressure and resilience, the next video on emotional detachment, specifically why the most emotionally intelligent people appear not to react, goes even further. That one is the video most people message me about. Before you go, which of these 5 mechanisms do you recognize most in yourself? Not which one you want, which one you already use, even without knowing it had a name. Drop the number below.